In this video, I will do a short review of the new Starz historical series Becoming Elizabeth. I will share my personal opinion about the series, what I liked and didn't like. I will try not to mention any major spoilers in case some of you haven't seen it yet. First of all, I think the original idea was great. To make a TV show set during the reign of Edward VI, whose reign is often overlooked. To make a coming-of-age story about Queen Elizabeth in her teenage years, that was also a good idea. We usually see her portrayed as queen, grown up, or as a child in Henry VIII stories, but rarely as a teenager during Edward's reign. So the idea was good. And how was the implementation? Well, overall not great, not terrible, in my opinion. I would say that as a TV show focusing on Edward's reign, it would have been quite good. The Game of Thrones, the Lord's Play to fill in the power vacuum beside the Child King, the royal children being the power pieces in that game, it was all great. But the title is Becoming Elizabeth, and the show was marketed and said to be Elizabeth's story, her coming-of-age story. And as such, well, it leaves quite a lot to be desired. Because, well, here is my major problem with the show. First of all, I'm quite sorry to say this, but I think the main actress is miscast. She is just too old for this role. Sorry. She's 28 now. She was, at best, 26 during filming and doesn't look a day younger than that. She was simply too old to play a teenager. When it comes to the actor's age in a historical drama, inaccurate casting can be okay when age doesn't have much effect on the storyline, but that is not the case in Becoming Elizabeth. It is very important in this story that Elizabeth is still just a teenager. I do not want to say major spoilers, but if we imagine the exact same Thomas Seymour and Elizabeth scenes with this man and not this woman, but this young girl or even this girl, the whole thing will just look completely different. You will understand her situation and her actions much better. And not just the Thomas storyline, but Elizabeth's actions as a whole. She is often childish, ignorant, even silly. She often behaves like a teenage girl, which she is. But looking like a mature adult woman, her behavior sometimes comes across as weird and even ridiculous. Also, I'm sorry to say this, but I think the actress's acting is not very good either. I have seen her in a few German productions and she was great there, but here she is not. I don't know why. Though I think the writing also doesn't do her any favors sometimes. This coming-of-age story should have been a learning process for Elizabeth, a progress, growing up, maturing from episode to episode, through the lessons she learns, the mistakes she makes, the mistakes she sees others make, the hardships she has to endure, the challenges she must overcome, the life-threatening situations she has to find a way to survive, until from a young, childish girl, she becomes a clever, mature adult. That means she can and should make silly mistakes in the beginning, but then, as the show progresses, she should change, mature, stop committing the same mistakes again and again. That is why I hated episode 5. I just hated it. By then we were past half of the 8 episodes of the series. She should have been much smarter. I think the first time I saw glimpses of Gloriana was episode 8 or maybe episode 7 a bit, but that's just not enough progress. And it is also not historically accurate. By that time, in the 1550s, we know that she was already a very smart and cunning woman whose intelligence and wit and ability to escape from the most dangerous situations amazed everyone, which she demonstrated when she was questioned in the Thomas Seymour treason case. But in the show, she is not girl boss enough during the questioning, which is a bit weird considering that nowadays writers seem obsessed with feminist and girl boss characters, and here is a perfect opportunity and they miss it. Other than Elizabeth's behavior and episode 5 in general, I think the historical accuracy of the show is relatively okay. I find it more accurate than the Tudors or previous Starz productions like The White Princess or The Spanish Princess. The costumes are definitely quite accurate, a bit too boring to my taste. I would have preferred a bit more glamour. In general, I think the show is quite accurate historically, with some unnecessary changes and some necessary ones. For example, I think it is a good change that we see Mary much more involved in the events and in court life than she was in real life. It is good for the storyline, good to build up for her reign after Edward's, to show the religious tensions in the country, to see the siblings' dynamic. Gardiner's too much presence is also not a bad change from history, I think. He is placed well in the story with Mary, but then they should have included Thomas Cranmer as well, whose absence is very weird. Not only because he was an extremely important person, the Archbishop of Canterbury during Edward's whole reign, but he could have served as a great counterpart to Gardiner in the story. I mean, does it make any sense that the Protestant kings and a Protestant Lord Protector's Protestant council lets a Catholic churchman sit in the council while there is no one there from the Protestant church? I also missed a few other historical characters, the wives of the lords. Edward Seymour's wife is often mentioned but never seen in the series. I think she could have had some great encounters with Catherine Parr. I also missed Frances Brandon, Jane Grey's mother, and also Lord Dudley's wife. But I am aware that 8 episodes limit the number of characters the story can use. Too many characters are not ideal either for the audience. Actually, I find every character interesting and well written, except for Elizabeth. I think both Seymour brothers are great, the Dudleys as well. Catherine Parr was written as a complex character too. Edward and Jane Grey, child characters but well written. Mary, absolutely awesome, very good character arc. I think the acting is also quite good in the series, not just by Romola Garai but the others too. Again, except Elizabeth. The actors who play King Edward, Edward Seymour, Lord Dudley, Robert Dudley are all great. About the ending, I will not say too much. I think it is a good ending, but only if there is a season 2. And I have heard nothing about plans for more than one season. Without a continuation to the story, it doesn't really make sense to end episode 8 like that. But I hope they will make a second season. I will definitely watch it. I think historically there are very interesting times ahead in the story. I just hope Elizabeth's character will also show some progress. So let me know what you think. Have you seen it? Did you enjoy it? Do you agree or disagree with me? Let me know in the comments.